How could I have anticipated that the child who assisted me in setting up the coffee maker would step into my home, only for me to discover that I had carelessly left my toys and some rather intimate clothing strewn across the not to mention that everything would shift following that instant. Solitude I found myself. Yet the moment I ventured to acquire that coffee maker, the kindness of the man at the store transformed my day from isolation to companionship. Who would have imagined that an unseasoned youth would enter my life and steer it in such an unforeseen manner? Allow me to recount the tale, starting from the very outset. I am 60 years of age, having been divorced for 15 years, and I have been living in solitude. Naturally, there were instances where I cherished my solitude. Holding on to personal treasures meant solely for my own reflection. I employed them with such frequency that their presence faded into the background, and I failed to realize when they were inadvertently left on display in the heart of the living room. Perhaps it was merely a routine, or perhaps it served as my means of bridging the chasm of solitude. Regardless, that morning seemed utterly ordinary. What began as a simple plan to purchase a coffee maker and continue with my day took an unexpected turn when that young man, Jake, stepped in with his offer of assistance. As I swung the door open, allowing him to cross the threshold with the box in hand, I remained blissfully unaware that what began as an ordinary day was on the verge of transforming into something remarkable. At the age of 23, Jake radiated excitement, warmth, and an abundance of energy. Upon entering my home, coffee maker in tow, his gaze roamed over every nook and cranny of the space. That moment his gaze settled upon something intriguing. The toys scattered about along with the personal garments I had carelessly draped over the couch. They had become such a familiar presence that their absence went unnoticed by me. They appeared to be the most mundane aspect of the house. Jake offered a subtle smile as he approached the living room and remarked, "You live alone, don't you?" His eyes sparkled with a mischievous curiosity. My face flashed a vivid crimson. It unfolded with such unexpectedness and awkwardness that I found myself at a loss for how to respond. A simple task was at hand. Someone was merely meant to arrive and set up the coffee maker. Ultimately, I kept these intimate aspects of my existence to myself. My solitude belonged to me alone, and I had no desire to impose it upon another. "Jake, please, let's just pretend you didn't see any of this," I said, my voice quivering ever so slightly. Seemed as though all my desires had abruptly shattered into pieces. Jake cast a glance my way, a smile playing on his lips. "As you wish," he responded. "However, it's clear that these matters are not easily dismissed. They certainly command attention, much like you do." Left me feeling even more flustered. Gradually averted my gaze and whispered, "Jake, please remember to subscribe and activate notifications for more tales such as this. You won't be able to hold back from sharing your thoughts after you hear this one all the way through. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below." Yet with his characteristic warmth and authenticity, he pressed on. "It's entirely normal to experience such feelings when one is living alone," he remarked, his eyes now glimmering with a newfound brightness. "Each of us carries our own set of desires. Wouldn't you agree? Yet there are moments when such things simply fall short, don't you think?" The subtle emphasis in his words lingered at the end, resonating with an unspoken weight. He seemed to be making an effort to connect with me, reaching out in a manner that was simultaneously daring and tender. Our gazes intertwined for a fleeting moment, and in that instant a flicker of connection ignited between us. A tuck, a silent allure. Jake's warm gaze lingered on me, and with each fleeting moment the distance between us diminished. Word he uttered resonated deeply within me, and in that moment I understood that my emotions had transformed into something entirely unique. Remarked, a peculiar spark flickering in his eyes. I noticed it the first time you came to get the coffee maker. Bestowed upon me an emotion unlike any I have ever experienced. After a brief moment of contemplation, I crafted my response. What words could possibly convey my thoughts? My emotions swirled chaotically, yet the urge to resist this magnetic pull seemed utterly futile. Young man, I would have never entertained the idea of accepting your offer to assist and allowing you into my home. I uttered those words, yet within me I was aware of a more profound feeling stirring. Somehow Jake had burrowed beneath my skin. Everything about him, the way he carried himself, the nuances of his speech, his very presence was captivating, utterly serene, effortlessly enchanting. The struggle to conceal my emotions from my gaze was becoming increasingly difficult. A brief silence hung in the air before I finally spoke. I've been wearing these jeans and this shirt all day. They are constricting my very breath, attempting to alleviate the strain. I shall now retire to change into something more comfortable. Feel free to settle in as if this space were your own. Jake's eyes held mine for a moment longer than necessary. Attempted to divert my gaze, even if only for a fleeting moment, yet I found myself unable to do so. He captivated me completely. The distance that once separated us diminishes with each passing moment. As I ascended the stairs, I donned a sleek figure hugging dress with delicate spaghetti straps. I applied a subtle enhancement to my makeup before gracefully making my way to the kitchen. As I descended, my gaze fell upon Jake, poised by the living room door. His gaze, whether by design or happenstance, was fixed upon me. For a fleeting moment I lingered, caught in a web of hesitation, allowing my thoughts to roam freely. Very well, I am mused, young man. Your intentions are unmistakably evident. You feel like a stroke of luck in my life. Lou embraces it, contemplated quietly, then feigned ignorance of his gaze as I moved closer to him. Jake, I said, my voice laced with a hint of mischief. Do you find yourself unattached? Do you have a girlfriend? Or do you find yourself in solitude during the nights? As I gazed upon him, a flicker ignited within me. We stood on the precipice of understanding, where each word, every gesture, and every fleeting glance resonated with profound significance. I beheld the thrill and timid wonder reflected in his gaze. A smile gently blossomed on my lips. Once you've completed the setup of the coffee maker, shall we brew some coffee together? Uttered, scarcely aware of the subtle quiver that betrayed my composure. Litaja in conversation. Please share your story with me. As I approached him, a warmth began to swell within me. Every small detail about him draws me closer. Jake settled into a chair, yet he found himself restless, unable to find a position that felt right. I, however, took a bold step and positioned my chair directly beside his. As I positioned it securely beneath me, my skirt crept up slightly, just a few centimeters. Yet I was acutely conscious of the shift. Jake's gaze ascended, lingering just shy of connecting with my own. His attentiveness was palpable, a true reflection of his sincerity. Cast a sidelong glance at him, attempting to measure the weight of this newfound intimacy, and offered a smile. With casual crossing of my legs, I let my arm drape over the back of my chair. Were you filled with impatience as you awaited this moment? Playfully teased, aiming to infuse the moment with a light-hearted spirit. Yet the unspoken tension between us steadily escalated. Jake, a hint of nervousness in his demeanor, yet unwavering in his gaze, inquired, "How old are you?" His voice trembled just a touch, caught in the delicate balance of astonishment and reverence. "I believed you were 50 feet. A glimmer ignited Vitan Magaza. Did he genuinely believe I was 50? That was intriguing and strangely complimentary. A smile crept onto my face. "Do you prefer those who are 50 years old?" Playfully arched an eyebrow, scrutinizing him with keen interest. Every word, every fleeting moment shared, drew us nearer, ignited by the intensity of the experience. His eyes widened in astonishment. He appeared utterly captivated by my presence. "No, that's not what I meant," he said, his voice tinged with a hint of shyness. "Youth and beauty are truly captivating." His words reverberated within the confines of my mind. A gentle warmth enveloped me, yet concurrently a sense of unease washed over me. Being this close now, taking another step felt profound. A stillness enveloped us. Pause that lingered in the air. With steadying inhale, I posed the question. "Are you currently in a relationship? You find yourself in solitude? What do you do during your solitary nights?" These were questions I was both eager and slightly anxious to hear from T. Jake dropped his voice, his gaze firmly fixed on me. "I'm alone," he remarked. That instant I was utterly convinced he was alone, yet it was a loneliness he found himself reluctant to embrace. Our eyes met for a lingering moment, and I sensed he was acutely aware of the fervor in my stare. My emotions began to crystallize swiftly, and I realized it was time to. "That's not how tonight's going to unfold," I declared, my tone resolute, imbued with a newfound strength. My gaze returned to him, and each word I uttered resonated with significance. In that instant I realized that everything was on the brink of transformation. "Jake, I urged, my voice softer than usual yet undeniably more inviting. With a subtle glance, I directed my gaze toward the room that housed the bed, then turned away without a moment's. Certainly he would comply. Sensed his footsteps trailing behind me, his breath quickening ever so slightly. As we stepped into the bedroom, Jake paused just by the threshold. His shoulders bore a slight tension, yet his expression remained sharp and anticipatory. I turned to confront him, and on his visage I discerned a blend of uncertainty and exhilaration. "Jake, are you prepared?" I inquired, my voice measured and composed. I moved in a bit closer, a subtle smile playing on my lips as I spoke. "My experience speaks for itself. Take a deep breath. No reason to feel anxious." As I drew near, I rested my hand softly on his shoulder. Even that slight contact appeared to alleviate some of his tension, yet it simultaneously intensified the thrill within him. That instant, Jake's vibrant spirit collided with the assurance and determination I had cultivated through passage of time. I gently eased the straps of my dress down from my shoulders. The delicate fabric glided over my skin before cascading to the floor. Jake's gaze was fixed upon me. Blend of wonder, intrigue, and longing filled the air. A flicker of emotion ignited within, yet my demeanor remained Composed. I edged nearer to him, the stillness enveloping us as if it were weaving an unspoken connection. My fingertips grazed his cheek softly, and then I lingered, anticipating his next move. Jake paused for a moment, yet ultimately he inclined himself toward me. His gaze was charged with determination and excitement. His hand gently settled on my waist, and as he leaned in, our lips finally connected in soft embrace. His kiss embodied the audacity of youth, tinged with a touch of naivety, yet that very innocence only captivated me further. I retreated, gently, my steps guiding me toward the bed. I allowed myself to descend onto it, with intentional, leisurely motions. The frigid touch upon my skin sent a shiver coursing through me, amplifying the thrill that stirred within. Cast my gaze toward Jake. He remained rooted in place, caught in a web of uncertainty about his next move. "Jake, come here," I called, my voice gentle yet inviting. I traced my fingers along the surface of the bed, gesturing toward the vacant space beside me. "Recline. Fear holds no power here." Jake inched closer, his movements deliberate as he settled down beside me. We seemed to be suspended in time, the atmosphere thickening with each passing moment. I turned to him, my hand resting lightly on his chest, and asked in a soft voice, "Have you ever contemplated this moment? Can you envision it, Jake?" Jake's gaze remained fixed on me, unwavering and intense. "More than merely envisioning it," he murmured, his voice low and slightly trembling. Yet I never believed it could truly come to pass. In that instant, every uncertainty was cast aside. We were intertwining not only with our physical selves but also with the depths of our emotions. Neither of us had any idea where this journey would lead. Yet one truth stood clear in my mind. The thrill I experienced with Jake was a longing I had been pursuing. As I lay beside him, the excitement within me transformed into a surge of bravery. Propped myself up at the edge of the bed, my eyes locked onto Jake as I gradually rose to my feet before him, leaning slightly towards him from the head of the bed, my gaze intertwined with his, seizing the blend of surprise and anticipation that danced across his features. "Jake," I said, my voice gentle yet firm, "this evening we are both accompanied." Jake gulped, his gaze unwavering. His silence conveyed a profound understanding of the gravity of my words. His hands clutched the edge of the bed with a fierce intensity, yet his eyes had begun to shimmer with newfound courage. With deliberate grace I leaned closer to his face, cradling his cheeks softly in my hands. "Let us embrace this moment tonight," I murmured, drawing my lips nearer to his. "Refrain from questioning anything. Embrace the unknown without trepidation." Jake's breath came in rapid bursts. He remained steadfast, refusing to retreat, even for an instant. In that fleeting instant we sought refuge from our solitude, drawing solace from the warmth of one another's company. Jake's breath came in rapid bursts. His eyes appeared to strive to seize every nuance of the moment, as if he wished to engrave it upon his memory. He paused for a moment, then raised his hands to my waist, embodying a blend of courage and hesitation. The initial reluctance transformed into a fervent longing. The rhythm of my breath eluded me, yet the weight of the moment pressed heavily upon my soul. "Jake," I murmured, my fingers softly tracing the contours of his face. "This sensation is overwhelming, and it is truly exquisite." Jake held his gaze steady, responding with a voice that resonated deeply, yet quivered with a gentle warmth. I share your sentiment. Doesn't it all seem to be unfolding at an astonishing pace? This sensation within me is profound, and it radiates beauty. It's likely evident that I've never embarked on an endeavor quite like this before. A smile blossomed upon my lips. I drew nearer, gently pressing my lips to his forehead in a tender kiss. Jake, there are moments when life unfolds more beautifully when you allow yourself to simply be free from the weight of overthinking. Embrace the moment fully and let it carry you forward, I remarked with a comforting hint. Jake hesitated briefly, then let his hands glide gently from my waist to draw me nearer, our breaths intertwining as the distance between us vanished. This moment held the potential to change the course of our lives forever. In a fleeting moment, Jake, gasping and surrendering completely, allowed himself to be free. As I had predicted, he continued unabated, and the sensation was nothing short of extraordinary. As I reclined beside him afterward, he appeared so content, as if he had finally released all his pent-up tension. Jake's powerful embrace enveloped me, drawing me in with a firm yet tender grip. My head lay against his chest, attuned to the steady cadence of his heartbeat. The cadence of the sound was at once calming and oddly invigorating. Unbeknownst to me, my fingers softly danced over the contours of his chest. Jake inhaled deeply, his voice barely above a whisper as he spoke. Brittany, this sensation I'm experiencing at this moment, I've never known such tranquility and serenity before. His voice carried an intriguing blend of sincerity and astonishment. Smiled, yet avoided his gaze. My head comfortably nestled against his chest. Is that so? I whispered softly. Indeed, he persisted, softly moving one of his hands to my back, drawing me nearer. Throughout my existence I have pursued an elusive something. Never imagined I would pause to savor a moment such as this. Yet in this moment with you, it renders everything worthwhile. His words enveloped me in a comforting embrace, igniting a warmth that radiated from within. As I reclined in that moment, attuned to the calming cadence of his breaths, I responded, Jake, simply being in your presence evokes a feeling within me that has long been absent, a sense of being special. Jake's fingers would gently through my hair, a tender smile gracing his lips. Suppose we've provided one another with precisely what we required, he remarked, his tone reflective. I raised my gaze ever so slightly to meet his. His expression was a canvas of honesty and relief, revealing everything without a single word spoken. And I suggested we simply leave it as it is. Let us fully embrace this moment. I nodded slowly, a silent affirmation passing between them. We simply remained there, unfolded in one another, allowing the warmth of the moment to envelop us. The stillness and soft glow beyond seemed to be crafted solely for our presence. With my head nestled against Jake's chest, I surrendered to the tranquility of the moment, closing my eyes and allowing serenity to envelop me. It was then that a thought quietly slipped into my consciousness. Began to envision the possibility of inviting him to remain here with me, to transform this house, these tranquil nooks and solitary evenings, into something more vibrant. With his presence, the thought of incorporating him into my life illuminated everything, making it feel more vibrant and complete. Naturally, I was unaware of the path that lay before, the thrilling days or profound connections that awaited us in the future. Yet one certainty lingered in my mind. Our tale was far from over. This marked merely the inception, therefore keep your eyes peeled. You've journeyed this far, it's clear that my tale has resonated with you in some way. There is an abundance of insights waiting to be unveiled, and you certainly won't want to overlook them. Press that follow button, activate notifications, and be sure to share your thoughts on this tale in the comments. Eagerly await your thoughts. Engage in a conversation in the comments section. Your support is invaluable to